Let's get one thing clear. Women are beautiful. They are amazing complements into our existence. But in God's earth, sometimes there's mistakes. And today's mistake is Grace Randall's opinion. Just FYI, the reason why I'm making this video is because I literally just talked about one of the best isekai movies I've seen in a minute, which is the Super Mario Bros. And you can see my review right here. All right, go and watch it. Now, one thing that I've had the pleasure to read often is that people call me one of their favorite like anime critics, and I hate that word, critics, because I think critics are absolutely obsolete. I don't think if anyone calls himself an actual critic, is like, please review your life. Whenever I talk about anything, I try to give just my own personal bias. I try to give you something digestible and that you might understand. And if you know my taste and dislikes and likes, then you can say, oh, okay, well, I'm going to base my opinion. I think his opinion aligns with my likes as well. And for the most part, Grace Randolph has had some opinions that I disagree with. But one thing is to have a like that you don't like and then just have a completely stupid ass opinion where it's objectively wrong, especially because you contradict yourself in your own fucking sentence. So I'm going to show you a little bit of the stream that Megan and I did so you can get a good idea of what we sat through. Made a review for this movie, for Mario. And it is one of the worst reviews I think I've ever seen.
Oh, I think I heard. Okay, I haven't seen this, but I've heard people talking about it on Twitter. Saw people talking about it on Twitter.
So I want to get your opinion because look, she's not necessarily someone that grew up with the games. You just said that you didn't either. Like you knew kind of who the characters were, but I, still not as intense as other people. But
it's this bad. I am not only not enjoying it, but the rest of us just sat there in stony silence, just waiting for the movie to end. You were like, oh, whew. I mean, I also was not only not enjoying it, but I was shocked that I couldn't get into the movie. I was like, how is this bad? I haven't had this hard a time watching a movie since DC Super Pets. I would describe both of these movies as torture to sit through. Whew. And I like comic books. I like mythology. I get into stuff. I'm open to getting into new fandoms. So the fact that I was like, make it stop was pretty bad. Although I wanted to walk out of DC Super Pets, as I told you. And the only reason I stayed was because, again, I'm reviewing it. I'd love to be able to say, hey, it gets really good. Narrator, it does not. And also the visuals here were pretty good. And I really like Anya Taylor-Joy's Princess.
So first off, the movie is torture, apparently.
I do not agree because I don't see how that could be it could be torture for somebody that doesn't even really know Mario.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just very entertaining and a fun watch, no matter what. In my opinion, I don't see how it could be torture.
She says, "Why is it so bad?" Let's see why it's so bad.
It's cool. And I did feel, I was like, oh, why aren't I watching this in 3D? Now, as I said, I've been able to get into other mythologies, but I just couldn't get into this movie despite being a ready and willing participant. I was like, come on, Nintendo World, indoctrinate me. So I thought about it. I saw it last night and I've been like, why couldn't I get into this movie? And this morning, eureka, it clicked and I realized the problem. The Super Mario Brothers movie, this latest one, they did the live action one many years ago. But while this is supposed to be an origin story where Mario and Luigi do discover the Mushroom Kingdom for the very first time, I didn't even know it was called the Mushroom Kingdom. I had to look it up. It's not even made clear in the movie.
Yes, it is. What? Was she paying attention?
Like, as soon as he arrives to the Mushroom Kingdom, literally a mushroom says, "Welcome to the Mushroom Kingdom."
How did she miss that? Like, everything that if you didn't know Mario, everything is explained to you. Each kingdom, everything is named for you.
Yeah, they literally tell
It's
you.
not that hard to follow this movie. Come on.
Yeah, this is not like a Martin Scorsese shit. Like,
Oh my gosh.
Is written for fans and fans only. Nothing is explained to the audience. Not the world,
nothing is explained.
not the characters, not the circumstances, and not even really the point. Now, some of you might be like, good, I'm a fan, and I
So tell me this movie didn't explain anything when literally we had a training montage of Princess Peach telling Mario what the fuck is happening and what everything is.
Right? Everything is explained. The star is explained. Power-ups, everything. If you have never played a Mario game or even seen one played, it's all explained to you.
Mm-hmm.
She was not paying attention.
Let's see. Horrible script.
Nintendo, you could be watching a scene from Sing or Secret Life of Pets, quite frankly. But then after that, there's like no story. Well, and what little story they do have, I found a couple of things. One was confusing. Like, why don't any of the other humans look like Mario and his family? And why is the human world super realistic, yet full of cartoon-looking characters? I was like, that's weird.
Also, this video is sponsored by this video right here that you should watch, which is Demon Slayer Season 1 Terribly Explained. I'm trying to give you guys versatile content and everything, and I absolutely loved doing that video. So go ahead and give it a like, give it a watch, because I would really appreciate it. All right, continue on. I mean, how can you debate that logic? Why, if that wall looks like a wall, the human doesn't look like exactly like a fucking... Has she ever seen another like animated movie ever?
Well, apparently she's seen that Super Pets one.
The
Okay.
animation, though, again, is stunning. And some of the backgrounds in the human world looked almost real. But again, that was so bizarre that there were cartoons running.
She just contradicted herself.
I know.
Because she said earlier, it's so real, but there's cartoon characters in a very real world. And then she said, it looks almost real. She just contradicted herself.
She just did.
And around in there. Back to the story, I would also say it's a little disturbing. Because apparently in the games, Bowser, I had to look it up, Bowser is obsessed with Princess Peach and has been for a very long time. But in today's marketplace, post Me Too, to hear Bowser declare that he's going to ask Princess Peach to marry him, which apparently isn't a spoiler because I looked it up and it happens in the games all the time. But he's like, I'm going to ask Princess Peach to marry me. And like his little sycophant sorcerer is like, what if she doesn't want to? And he's like, then I'll destroy her kingdom and kill everyone she knows. And you're like, wow, that's stalker behavior. And I would say kind of makes this not appropriate for children, quite frankly.
No kid is going to pick up on that. How many inappropriate for children references are put into the Toy Story movies or like any Disney movie we've ever watched?
So this bitch just said, the villain is the bad guy. Outrageous. Like,
that's what he does in the game, and who he was in the game is who he was in the movie. In fact, I think they made him nicer in the movie, to be honest.
Yeah, like as far as what people have told me, this Bowser is like a completely different Bowser. Like, still has the same goal, like to get to get Princess Peach. But in this one, obviously, all of the characters have like way more fleshed out personalities because in the games they really don't have one. But the fact that she's like, oh, that's stalker behavior, like, bitch, he's the villain. Like,
How is like the bad guy is the bad guy is the bad guy.
You're talking like literally about a dragon turtle that can talk and breathe fire.
Crimson Law.
I'm sorry, but when Grace Rendell speaks, I feel my brain cells committing suicide one by one. Look, I didn't listen to this full review, and right now I'm kind of like for the first time hearing all her so-called points. I am in awe. I am in awe that, I mean, if this video doesn't prove to you that we don't need movie critics anymore, I don't know what will. Because she's like a very, like, she's almost at 1 million subscribers.
How? If this is like any example of her movie reviews, I am not interested.
Yeah, like I don't know. I don't know.
And it's not because she doesn't like it, but I don't. She contradicts herself. She's not entertaining. She's not very clear. I don't know. I don't find anything she has to say.
Dude, I have better editing than she does. You have better editing than she does. Like...
And I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Oh my gosh.
And in fact, I would argue that most of the movie is about who's going to date Princess Peach.
Isn't that the game?
That's kind of the fucking point of the entire game.
Oh my gosh.
That's it. My jaw was on the floor. I'm like, is that really what this movie is about? That is a really outdated story. I think fans and just moviegoers in general and everybody associated with this film deserve more. And it's a shame because Jack Black does a fantastic job as Bowser. You can't even recognize that it's Jack Black's voice. Then Bowser sings and you're like, oh yeah, he's voiced by Jack Black. And you still can't tell that it's Jack Black. And I think that
she contradicts herself constantly.
So you can hear him sing and it's clearly Jack Black, but you cannot tell it's Jack Black.
Who is watching this woman's review? How does she have almost 1 million? I don't understand.
I gotta tell you though.
I don't get it.
Oh, the movie is currently on Rotten Tomatoes with a 51%.
What? Wasn't it about to hit 1 billion?
No, it's a 51% rating from the critics.
Oh, well, yeah.
But the fan score is at 94.
Yeah. Movies aren't made for critics. If you make a movie for a critic, it's going to bomb.
This review perfectly exemplifies the disconnect between critics and fans. Damn. Yeah, I agree. Wow, you're so far off, Grace. My entire audience was laughing and cheering the whole movie. Critics have no real purpose in the industry anymore. This was literally the most tone-deaf review when it comes to fans. I can understand you not liking it as a non-fan. Very clear example of how disconnected these critics are. Because I think she rose to fame when she was like a normal reviewer, like anyone else, like Girl Next Door type of thing.
Okay.
But then she became like asked to go to like premiere and events. So most of the movies that she watches is because she gets invited to them. Now, it's been known in the past couple of years, she's leaned a lot. Like she's a huge defender of the Star Wars sequels. She's like, oh yeah, like girl power, like they're fantastic and shit like that. But up to that point, I was like, well, yeah, maybe she just likes, like she leans a lot into the feminism. But this is not like liking feminism or not. This is just like not understanding a movie that is made to a 4-year-old. Like this movie requires literally 3 brain cells to understand. And she seems that she's not capable of doing it. Okay.
Oh, Shorty's here.
What's up? What's up, Christina? If you want to come to the stream, you have the link. We're roasting a woman right now. We're making fun of a girl.
She not smart. Mm-mm.
What I didn't see this thing. Accents. She's gonna talk about the accents.
Oh, okay.
Also, in an effort to move away from doing, speaking of disturbing, I would also classify this movie as a little offensive because instead of doing the Italian accents, ironically, because they were worried about being offensive, instead they decided to give everyone a variation of a New York accent, which again I found kind of offensive. It's
if they're Italians in New York, okay.
Because I mean, I don't know if you know this, Megan, but even if you're born 5-10 generations into the US, even if you come from a family of Italians, you're born with an Italian accent and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, it's not like,
That's how it works.
yeah, like it's not like you learn accents or can imitate them from time to time, or you pick up on the dialect of the country you're in. No, you're born with it. Just yeah.
It's like everyone's either in Goodfellas or a Woody Allen movie, because and not just in the New York City. By the way, Mario and Luigi live in New York City, but you're like when you get to the Mushroom Kingdom, Donkey Kong Land is the same way, and so you're just kind of like, why would you make that choice? Like, why do you think that's somehow not offensive and the Italian thing would be? It's just crazy.
Did she want like Caribbean accents or like
right?
African
What does
accent,
she
like...
want in Donkey Kong? What accent does she want in Donkey Kong Land? That
And then-
wouldn't be offensive.
Easy. The movie also leans really heavily on classic hit songs, a little bit the way Guardians of the Galaxy has done. And sometimes it gets your blood pumping. It's not a bad strategy. But here it's very poorly executed. Like everything, just when you're like, okay, now we're cooking, it peters out. And they're like, okay, we're done. And you're like, oh, you promised me a fun jam. Like when they start to make the Mario Karts and one of the Kongs is like puts on his shades and he's like, what do you want me to do for you? But he just says it with a nod and you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. And it seems like it's going to be awesome. The music starts, they turn up the volume and then they're done. And I was like, I guess if you've ever built your own Mario Kart, you'd be like, oh, cool. It's just like the game. But as someone who has never built a Mario Kart, I still have not had the pleasure of the experience. But I did really like Anya Taylor-Joy.
There's no segues. Her thought processes are just like all over the place, and she does not segue from one to another smoothly.
Ouch.
Oh. The Secret of the Moon.
The action sequences aren't that exciting. There's like no suspense. It's just like, oh, hey, look, it's like the game. But you never really feel like you're running.
Okay, I just want to listen to that again, okay?
Okay.
Pay attention to the annoying ass sound that is coming out of her mouth.
No suspense. It's just like, oh, hey, look, it's like the game.
How does she know that it's like the game if she spent 20 minutes saying that she's never played the game?
Because she's basically just copying what she's heard other reviewers and critics say. No, not everything she is saying is her own opinion. She's got a lot of other people's opinions in there, which is probably why she's contradicting herself so much.
Dude, I've talked to her dresses smarter than this. And right after that, she connect crazy with one of those her dresses.
Oh.
I like when the chat is like piling insult upon insult.
That's great.
But you never really feel like you're running any of the gauntlets yourself. You still look like you're watching the game screen instead of being.
You're watching a movie, goddammit. Like,
put into the action. That's the whole benefit of making it a movie. And then
what movie has she watched that she's playing? Like, if she's complaining that she's not playing the game because it's a movie, but what movie do you play? At that point, it's just a fucking like video game, right? Just
when could Mario turn into a cat? I guess like if you're into furries, that works, and maybe that'll play really well in Asian markets. I know they love cats over there, like love cats.
Okay, I just gotta say, this bitch
That
is
gives him
talking.
certain powers.
Okay, she was dissing on the fact that they didn't make Italian accents because that would be offensive. But she literally just said, "Oh, Asians like cats." Isn't that
I
a
just
little bit more racist? Like, listen to that again.
put into the action. That's the whole benefit of making it a movie. And then, when could Mario turn into a cat? I guess like if you're into furries, that works, and maybe that'll play really well in Asian markets. I know they love cats over there, like love cats.
Wow.
But I just felt it.
That was a little racy for me. Just saying, like,
Okay.
just saying, like that was like, dude, you're showing your true colors real quick.
Robbed Mario of a lot of his personal dignity. I was like, don't do that to Mario. Where's Mario's agent? There are also 2 end credit scenes, but they're not really noteworthy. One's comedic. The second one tries to set up a potential sequel. They're like, oh, if we make another one of these, this character's going to show up. Get excited. But that character kind of showed up earlier in the film in the background in a way, like at least a variation of them. I spotted him.
How does she know?
Was she paying? Okay.
How does she know what comes out of the egg if she's never played the game, but she knows which to spot in the movie? Just saying. Just saying.
Because she's watching other people's reviews before she makes her own.
Just saying.
And this end credit scene is so quick that it's hard to get super excited unless you're just so excited about that character. Just like the mere tease or mention or like blip of him is enough. So yeah, this is a mess. There's no story. Nothing is explained to newbies like myself. It's kind of offensive, and none of the animation styles fit together because I guess maybe they're different games. I mean, I guess it looks this way in Mario Kart, right? But from a story perspective, it just did not work for me. I have never seen an Illumination misfire this bad. In fact, I don't think they've ever misfired. This is not only the worst movie they've ever made, but in my opinion, the only bad movie they've ever made. And maybe what's different.
This is the only bad Illumination movie. Like, we're not gonna talk about Hop that no one talks about exactly because it's fucking horrendous. Anyways, but
here, it's because Nintendo was so involved creatively, as you can see from the credits when you watch the movie. I guess it doesn't always work out like with The Last of Us. This was so that's my review of Super Mario Brothers. If you aren't a fan of the games, you've been warned. But maybe you need to go with somebody who is a Nintendo fan. It's going to be rough for you. I pity you. But just remember what good friend you're being. And maybe before the movie starts, ask your Nintendo fan friend to explain some of this stuff to you, which might make it a little less painful. But I'll be honest with you, I don't even really think your Nintendo fan friend is going to like this. All right, so share your thoughts.
now I'm not gonna sit through the entire fucking spiel of whatever she just did. But I do know that in somewhere in this fucking mess of a so-called review, she said, and I hope I can one day find it. I don't really want to listen to all this thing because clearly she did not talk about or she has like a divider for it. But she says this movie will not make it to Friday. Apparently, this movie was going to do economically so bad that it was not even going to last until Friday.
Mm-hmm. She was wrong.
Just saying. Did someone time her? That's a really outdated story. Gross 377 million opening weekend.
Mhm.
Yeah. Grace, Bowser's behavior is pretty problematic. Audiences, wow, it's almost like he's the villain. Like, dude, yeah. So, what you think?
I think now people are only gonna watch her just to roast her in her own comment section.
She did put a video though. Right here. Um, talking about the box office. I wonder if she's gonna eat her fucking words. Let's see. I haven't seen this, so I don't know.
Office with Super Mario Brothers, which has not reached $1 billion just yet, but
It's the first weekend, bitch. Like,
oh, it's on its way. Domestically, the Universal, Illumination, and Nintendo movie. It was revealed this week that Nintendo seems to have put up half the financing, and that means they get half the net. What that means is that after Universal and Illumination have recouped their costs, then Nintendo gets 50% of whatever money is left over. I think Nintendo is about to get schooled because Hollywood is infamous for their creative accounting. They almost never have any profit. You always ask for a percentage of the gross, not the revenue, because there's never in revenue or net, because there's never any.
I'm glad that she knows better than legendary companies that literally make a living making the movies she watches. This is fucking gold.
To be had. Nintendo's got a lot of money, and I'm sure they'll get smarter doing Hollywood contracts perhaps after this. But anyway, Super Mario Brothers had a shockingly strong hold, falling just 41%. Oh my goodness. Not only speaking to the strength of the fandom and some other stuff which we're going to get into, but also the other studios gave it the kind of pass usually reserved for Disney movies, and sometimes not even then. Remember last weekend we were using The Incredibles 2 as a comp for the Super Mario Brothers, a comparable situation for those of you who don't know the lingo. Well, that went up.
That was very fucking like hard ass lingo, by the way. Just
Wow. Does she know the lingo? Oh, I'm sorry.
Against Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom in its second weekend and fell just 56%. That's impressive considering what it was going up against. As for Universal and Illumination's own Minions 2, we can't use Frozen 2 as a comp because it opened the weekend prior to Thanksgiving. Then it had Thanksgiving pretty much all to itself. It was a different situation. So Minions 2, it got hit with Thor Love and Thunder in its second weekend and fell a similar 57%. Isn't it interesting how similar those two movies are in their performance? And perhaps Super Mario Brothers would have been right there with them if anyone had bothered to challenge them in their second weekend. But nobody did. This time, there isn't another family movie hitting the marketplace until, again, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, very similar to Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom and Thor Love and Thunder. And that's not happening until May 5th, giving Super Mario Brothers 2 more weekends, 2 more, all to itself.
2 more! 2 more!
oh, that is a fantastic.
I think she's upset.
She's very upset. She's insanely upset that this is doing well.
She's got to explain it away.
Dude, someone make a meme out of this, please.
That's a very attractive face. Oh my gosh.
Please, someone make a bit.
Oh man.
Dude, this is 100%.
Yes.
This woman radiates cat